Stay with me, because at the end, I'll give you the exact blade replacement schedule that beats hand sharpening every single time. Here's the thing. A factory blade comes balanced to within a fraction of a gram. That sounds like nothing, but that blade spins at roughly 3,000 revolutions per minute under your deck. Even a few grams off-center turns into destructive vibration. And that vibration does two things. It frays every grass tip instead of slicing it clean. And it chews up your spindle bearings inside a single season. That frayed tip is what turned my Bermuda gray. Once I swapped to a fresh balanced blade, the new growth cut clean. The tips sealed instead of shredding, and the gray grew right out within about 2 weeks. That's 2, maybe 3 mows on Bermuda. Color came back like I'd never touched it. Most homeowners get this wrong for one reason. They take the blade off, lean it against a bench grinder, freehand a fresh edge, bolt it back on, and never once check the balance. A sharp blade that's out of balance is worse than a dull one that's true. Let's walk through it together. I'm going to give you 5 steps to diagnose the problem, kill the bad habit, and switch to the right approach. And at the very end, I'll give you the exact blade replacement schedule I promised you. Step 1. Diagnose what you've actually got. Torn grass or cut grass. The best time to read your lawn is the morning after you mow, when the dew is still on it and the light is low. Get down close and look at the tips. A clean cut leaves a flat, green tip, sliced like the end of a soda straw. A torn cut leaves a frayed, whitish, shredded tip that catches the light. Here's the tell. That frayed tip doesn't stay white. Within 2 or 3 days, it dries out and turns gray. And when every blade in the lawn does it at once, the whole yard takes on that dull gray cast tip to tip. That's exactly what I saw in my front Bermuda last spring. Now, while you're out there, do one more thing. Start the mower and rest your hand light on the handle for a few seconds. A balanced blade hums smooth. An out-of-balance blade buzzes. You'll feel it in the grip. A vibration that travels right up into your hands. If you feel that buzz and you see that gray, you found your problem. The win here is simple. In about 5 minutes, you've diagnosed something most homeowners blame on drought, fungus, or fertilizer for an entire season. It's not the water and it's not the nitrogen. It's the blade. Step 2. Understand why freehand sharpening fails. Because once you get this, you'll never grind a blade the old way again. A mower blade isn't really a knife. It's a wing spinning at speed. On a walk behind like my Toro Time Master, that blade is turning at roughly 3,000 revolutions per minute. At that speed, balance matters more than sharpness. Here's the math. A factory blade is stamped and balanced to within a fraction of a gram, side to side, so it spins true. When you lean it against a bench grinder and freehand an edge, you take off more metal from one side than the other, every single time, because your hand isn't a machine. Now one wing is a few grams lighter than the other. A few grams doesn't sound like much. But spin that imbalance at 3,000 revolutions per minute, and it turns into a violent, destructive wobble. That wobble does 2 things. It chatters the cutting edge through the grass instead of slicing it clean, which gives you the frayed gray tip. And it hammers your spindle bearings, the bearings the blade shaft rides on, and chews them up inside a single season. I want to show you how to prove this to yourself. Take the blade off and hang it on a nail driven into the wall, right through the center mounting hole. A balanced blade hangs dead level, like the arms of a scale. An out-of-balance blade dips on the heavy side. You'll watch one end swing down and sit there. That nail test is the whole truth of this video in one picture. The win for this step is understanding. You now know that a sharp blade that's out of balance is worse than a dull one that's true. Step 3. Buy the right factory balanced replacement blade. This is the heart of the do this instead. Instead of sharpening, you swap. The first thing you do is find your mower's OEM part number. That's the original equipment number stamped on the blade or printed in your manual. Match that number exactly. My Toro TimeMaster runs a balanced dual blade set, 2 blades side by side under that 30-inch deck, and they're sold matched and balanced as a pair for a reason. A factory replacement blade runs you about $15 to $20 each. Trust me on this one. Don't reach for the thin, cheap, off-brand blade to save $4. The cheap ones are stamped from thinner steel. They bend the first time you clip a sprinkler head, and a bent blade is an out-of-balance blade all over again. Spend the extra $10 and get the real one. Now here's the part most folks skip. Buy 2 or 3 at the start of the season, not 1. You want a fresh balanced blade hanging on a nail in the garage, ready to go, so swapping takes 10 minutes instead of a trip to the store. I've been through 3 Toro TimeMasters over the years, and the one habit that's carried across all 3 is keeping spares on the wall. The win here is that you've turned blade maintenance from a chore into a swap. Off, on, done. Step 4. Install it safely and correctly, because a perfect blade mounted wrong cuts no better than a wreck. Start with your gear. Gloves, eye protection. I never touch a mower blade without them, and you shouldn't either. A blade edge will open your hand right up. Before you tip that mower over, disconnect the spark plug wire. Pull it right off the plug. That's the one step nobody can skip, because if that engine kicks over while your fingers are near the blade, that's how people lose fingers. Do it first. Now when you tip the mower to get underneath, tip it with the carburetor and air filter side pointing up. If you lay it the wrong way, oil drains into the air filter and fuel weeps out the carb, and you've made a mess and a hard starting engine for no reason. Carb side up. Every time. To break the bolt loose, wedge a block of wood between the blade and the deck so the blade can't spin while you put a wrench on it. Now here's where most people mess up the reinstall. The blade has a curved lip on the back edge. That's the airfoil, the sail wing, and it's what lifts the grass and pulls the clippings up into the deck. That curved wing has to point up, toward the deck. Put the blade on upside down and your lawn looks like a goat got at it, because you're mowing with the flat side. Snug the bolt down and torque it to spec, somewhere around 45 to 50 foot-pounds on most walk-behinds. Read the label, or in this case, read your manual, because under-torqued blades work loose and over-torqued bolts snap. Then give the blade a slow spin by hand and make sure it turns free and clear with no scraping. Reconnect the plug wire. The Win is a blade that's mounted true, tight, and right side up, ready to cut clean from the first pass. Step 5. If you absolutely insist on reusing a blade, and I understand some of you have a drawer full of old ones, then you must rebalance it. This isn't optional. This is the difference between sharpening that helps and sharpening that turns your lawn gray. Pick up a cone balancer or a magnetic balancer. They run about $10 and they sit on your bench. You set the blade on the cone, centered through the mounting hole, and it tells you instantly which side is heavy. The heavy end drops, same as the nail test, just easier to read. Now you file, but you only file the heavy side, and you only file the back flat of the wing, never the cutting edge, to shave that weight off and bring it level. As you work, keep the factory edge angle, which is right around 30 degrees. Don't chase a razor. I learned years ago that a mower blade only needs to be butter knife sharp. Sharp enough to slice grass, not sharp enough to shave with. A razor edge is thin steel, and thin steel chips and rolls the first time it ticks a pebble. So file the heavy side, set it back on the balancer, check it, and repeat until it sits dead level. Then mount it the same careful way I just walked you through. Now I'll be straight with you. I did all of this wrong for years. My very first professional lawn, back in 1993, I was so focused on the cut and the chemicals that I never thought about the spinning. That was the same season I sprayed broadleaf killer on a windy afternoon and burned half a customer's lawn right alongside the weeds. I was a man chasing the wrong details. Blade balance was one I didn't learn until it cost me a beautiful yard. The win for this final step is that even your old blades can earn their keep, but only if they leave the bench balanced. File the heavy side, check the cone, mount it true, and you'll cut clean. Now, before we keep going, I want to tell you about something. A clean, balanced blade cut does more than fix the color. It builds a thick lawn that crowds weeds out before they ever start. And here's the thing. That kind of lawn runs on a calendar, same as weed prevention does. That's exactly what I lay out in my book, Larry's 30-Day Weed Kill Protocol. Chapter 9 walks you through the season-long maintenance calendar, start to finish. If you're exhausted by the weekend pulling cycle, and you want a permanent fix instead of one more tip, it's $17 at larrysgardenbooks.com. If you're watching on your TV, grab your phone and point it at the QR code on screen. Take your time. I'll be right here. Watching on your phone or laptop, just tap the link in the description. All right, let's keep going. Let's talk about where this goes wrong, because I've seen all three of these more times than I can count. Mistake 1. Grinding the edge razor sharp. Most homeowners think sharper is always better, so they put a fine, thin edge on the blade like it's a kitchen knife. Wrong. A thin edge chips and rolls within a couple of mows, and now you're cutting worse than before. Keep it butter knife sharp at the factory 30-degree angle, and that edge holds all season. Mistake 2. Sharpening but never rebalancing. This is the big one. This is the #1 cause of that gray lawn I showed you at the start, and it's what chews your spindle bearings down to nothing inside a single season. You can put a beautiful edge on a blade and still ruin your grass if it's spinning out of true. Always, and I mean always, finish on a balancer before that blade goes back on the deck. Mistake 3. Running a blade after it's hit a rock or a root, or just leaving last season's blade on because it still looks fine. Here's the math. One good strike on a hidden sprinkler head or a buried root nicks the edge and throws the whole thing out of balance. And from that moment on, it's tearing your grass instead of cutting it. Inspect that blade after any hard hit you feel through the handle, and swap it on schedule no matter how good it looks. Trust me on this one. A blade that looks fine and a blade that cuts clean are two different things. All right. I told you at the start I'd give you the exact blade replacement schedule that beats hand sharpening every single time. Here it is. For a fast-growing Bermuda lawn like mine, 3,000 to 4,000 square feet, mowed twice a week, you swap to a fresh factory-balanced blade twice per growing season. Once at spring green up, which down here in DFW is early March, and once again midsummer, early to mid-July. That works out to roughly every 20 to 25 engine hours of mowing. If you've got a cool season lawn you're not mowing as hard, one swap per season is plenty. Here's how you set it up. At the start of the season, buy 2 or 3 factory-balanced blades at $15 to $20 each, and hang a spare on a nail in the garage so it's ready when you need it. That's it. Now here's why this beats the grinder every time. A factory blade is stamped and balanced to within a fraction of a gram. When you freehand a sharpen, you remove uneven metal, and you destroy that balance, even if the edge looks perfect. Start each season segment with a fresh, balanced blade, and you've guaranteed 2 things at once. A clean cut that seals every grass tip instead of fraying it, and 0 destructive vibration to shake your mower apart. Clean cut, no gray, no spindle wear. That's the whole secret. Before I let you go, if today made you realize you've been fighting your blade the wrong way this whole time, you're going to feel right at home in my book. Everything I just showed you flips the conventional wisdom on its head, and that's exactly how the book opens. Chapter 1 is called Why Everything You Know About Weeds is Wrong, and it does the same thing for your weed problem that this video did for your mower. 88 pages. No fluff. Just the protocol, start to finish. It's the same $17 over at larrysgardenbooks.com. If you've tried everything, pulling, spraying, tilling, and you're ready for a permanent fix instead of one more tip, this is for you. If you're on your TV, go ahead and aim your phone at the QR code on the screen now. No rush, take a second to pull it up. On a phone or laptop, the link's right there in the description. All right, here's the takeaway. Stop freehand sharpening on the grinder. Run a fresh factory-balanced blade twice a season. And that gray cast grows out in about 2 weeks. That's it. If you want to keep dialing in the kind of lawn your neighbor's going to wonder about, go check out my video on the right mowing height for Bermuda. Because a clean blade at the wrong height still won't give you the cut you're after. Go look at your grass tips the morning after your next mow. You'll see exactly what I mean. I'll see you in the next one.